Now, as we all know, Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling are going to have their fight. I've already given a prediction on that several months ahead of time. Now I'm skipping ahead to Petr Yan versus Dillashaw. I don't think Aljamain has any chance beating him, by the way. Petr Yan versus TJ Dillashaw. This fight actually might be the hardest fight Petr Yan's ever had. Dillashaw can still fight good. He was out for almost 2.5 years after testing positive for EPO or whatever it was he took. He comes back and fights a top guy like Corey Sandhagen, takes him to distance and gets a victory over him after being out for 2 years. And clearly he was hurt in that fight. He didn't move right. He didn't move the same as he normally did. He brings so much pressure when he fights. He's a knockout guy too. And he's so successful at bantamweight. 2-time bantamweight world champion. He used to train with Uriah Faber, trains with Dwayne Ludwig now, top guys, legends of the sport, so you know he's going to be really well prepared for that fight. And his wrestling's really good too. The problem is, I don't think it's his time anymore. I think it's Petr Yan's time. Petr Yan is a dominant guy. He's a little version of Fedor Emelianenko, not just because he's Russian, but he fights just like him. His grappling is good. He has the sambo. He can knock guys out. He busts people up when he's hitting them in the face. You can ask Jose Aldo. He beat the crap out of him, something that a lot of people don't do. Like McGregor beat him in 13 seconds, but this guy tore him up and played with him for a while, then beat him pretty badly. So I just think Petr Yan's pressure, the way he fights, will be too much for Dillashaw. I don't think this fight will go to distance. I know how Cejudo had a controversial knockout over Dillashaw. This won't be controversial at all. I think Dillashaw will hang in there tight, making competitive for maybe 2 rounds. Third round, he's going to be overwhelmed by Petr Yan. Fourth round, it'll show he'll finish it in the late 4th, early 5th round. Dillashaw's got a lot of heart, and he fights so well. But he's going to be outmatched in his fight on the feet or anywhere he wants to go. But the thing is, Dillashaw's such a tough fight, he's going to give Petr Yan problems anyway. And Dillashaw's not exactly old. I still think he's at his peak. He's starting to go down maybe because, whatever. But that's just my opinion. I think his time has passed. I think it's Petr Yan's time. Petr Yan, it won't be a straight-up knockout. He's going to beat him like he did Aldo, but I think this fight will be much, much more competitive for the first 2 rounds. Third round, by the 3rd round, you'll probably see Dillashaw get overwhelmed on the feet. He's not going to get tired. I don't think fatigue is going to be a factor, but I think Petr's going to overwhelm him with his stand-up, with the leg kicks, with the punches. You might see some body kicks and head kicks get thrown in there, just to confuse Dillashaw more. And I think he'll just be too much. He'll be pressuring forward, and I think you'll see him start to take control of the fight in the 3rd round. Dillashaw will kind of wilt under that pressure. By the late 4th, early 5th, you'll see get a TKO, overwhelmed with strikes. Not a straight-up knockout, like a brutal KO, like a Masvidal or an Ngannou knockout. You'll see something like with Gaethje when he wore out Ferguson in the 5th round. He eventually finished it because the referee stepped in, if it makes sense. So I got Petr Yan beating him in a 4 or 5 round fight. Like I said, it should be competitive for about 2 rounds. So Dillashaw's a tricky guy to figure out, and he also brings the fight too. So Dillashaw does have a chance to win this fight. I just think it's Petr Yan's time. He's so precise when he fights, and if he hadn't had that DQ loss, he would be undisputed champion right now. We wouldn't even be talking about Shepard. That's just how I feel. So, yeah, I got Petr Yan winning by 4th or 5th round TKO. And still,